Hello everybody, my name is Tom and welcome back to my property and finance channel. If you don't know who I am a full-time YouTuber. I run the channel Capgun Tom. It's a FIFA channel with over 1 million subscribers. I've been doing that for the last 10 years. And yeah, I've made some money through that channel, and this channel is going to be documenting me investing and finding new ways to create income streams outside of YouTube. So it should be pretty cool because I've got to think long term. Realistically, how long will people keep watching my FIFA videos for? Like, if I'm 50, will people be watching them? Even that's kind of scary because that only gives me like 20 odd years or so before I expire. So I'm just trying to think of some new ways to create some money outside of my regular day job, I guess. And I guess a lot of you who have found your way here organically through the search or whatever, or maybe this video was recommended somewhere for you, are thinking about the same thing. You're thinking of ways to escape the rat race. Maybe you want to become financially free, which is one of those buzzwords that a lot of people use, or maybe you're looking to invest a whole load of money you saved up and just have like another passive income stream. Maybe that's what you're trying to do, and this is just a place where you guys can maybe learn something from my learnings. Do not take this as financial advice because I'm not trained in any sense of the word in this area. I will make a lot of mistakes. If you do copy me and make a mistake, that's on you, because I told you that I ain't trained in this kind of thing. But I've got some ideas of what I want to do. This is obviously the third part of our 3-part series that is documenting my first ever buy-to-let property. So in the first video we looked at the house and basically talked about what I wanted to do with it. Then the second video was me looking at the refurbishment, how much it cost and all those kinds of things, and how the house looked after the refurbishment was done. And this is the final part. This is where we bring it all nicely back together. We talk about all the numbers, we talk about all the nitty-gritty stuff, how I'm set up as a company, blah blah blah, all that stuff that so many people have poked holes in all the other videos in the comment section. Now I won't lie, when you usually go to an investment YouTube channel, you'll see a person standing in front of a whiteboard. I tried that with the first video. I watched it back, I was like, this is boring as hell. So I thought, you know what, this walking backdrop might be slightly more interesting than just me standing in front of a whiteboard. But I will chuck all the numbers that you need to know up on screen for you as we go. Okay, so I am currently actually buying my own house, so all of the sort of investments, buy-to-lets, etc. are actually going to go on the back burner for a little while, just so that I can sort of get myself set up with this new house, and then I'll be looking into buying more buy-to-let properties. But don't worry, the content is not going to stop. So today's video I'm going to go through all of my personal ways that I've set up my first buy-to-let, and then I'm going to do a deep dive on each of those topics and sort of expand on everything and look at different methods and different ways of doing stuff, and I'll explain even more in depth as to why I chose to do the things that I did the way I did them, and you guys can make your own decisions off the back of that. So the things we're going to be looking into today are how I bought. Did I buy through a company or did I buy personally? Viewings, so looking at some of the things that you might want to think about when you go and do viewings for your own properties. Mortgages, so interest only versus repayment mortgages. The sort of like startup costs and buying costs for this property. How much the refurbishments cost. How much the property is worth now that the refurbishment has been done. How much I'll be making on the property overall from rent and how much the expenses are. And then finally, the tax situation, as so many people have decided that that's what they wanted to focus on. How will he get around tax? How will he'll lose all his profit in tax? You wait and see. Okay, the wind was getting absolutely outrageous, so I've come and sat down next to the trees so that you won't be able to hear the wind blowing into the microphone anymore. Okay, so first things first, how did I buy this property? Did I buy it personally or did I buy it through a company? Well, I bought it through a company. I'm no stranger to having companies registered to me, as my YouTube channel is already registered as a company. One of the general benefits to having a company is that you get to control how the money flows through the business a lot better. If you are employed, you get paid your salary and tax is already deducted. However, if you have a company, the money comes into the company, you obviously pay corporation tax minus your expenses, but you then get to choose how you want to pay that money to yourself if you're the company director, like I am, and that allows you to find a much more tax efficient way of paying yourself. Now, before the comment section goes crazy and is like, this guy's a tax dodger, no, this is all 100% above board. I get regular advice from my accountant on the best way to efficiently pay myself so that I don't pay as much tax, and that is one of the main benefits of owning a company. Now, specifically for buy-to-let properties, the big advantage of having your properties in a buy-to-let company is that you can offset the interest of your mortgage as an expense against the rent. However, if you own the house personally, then you are not allowed to do this. Now, for example, if the rent I receive from a property is £1,000 and the interest on my mortgage payment is £500, I will not be able to deduct that £500 from £1,000. I'll have to pay tax on the full £1,000. However, in a company, you're allowed to take away that £500 of interest as a deduction against £1,000 rent. So instead of paying tax on £1,000, you now pay tax on £500. So that's the reason I set up as a company. That is the big one. Next thing they're going to talk about is the viewings. I went up to Northampton once. I did like 12, 13 viewings. I saw a couple of houses that I liked. I put some cheeky offers in just a little bit below asking price. 2 of them accepted, 1 of them ended up falling through, but the one that I completed on, you've obviously seen the house that I bought. I won't lie, complete rookie, had no idea what I was looking at when I went round. I just walked around and I was like, yeah, I can see people living here. This is a decent area. And that is kind of half the battle. The rest of the battle is trying to make sure that you don't walk into a money trap. You don't want to walk into a house that needs loads and loads of work doing. So good advice, go round, look at the walls for any major cracks. If you see that there's potential subsidence and you'll want to get like a survey done on the property, have a look at the roof as well. Look and see if you can see any gaps or if the roof generally looks old. Take a look at the boiler. If the boiler looks old, you're probably going to need to replace it. It's very, very difficult because unless you are actually someone who's trained in all these areas, you're not going to really know what you're looking at. I don't know one boiler from another, but I know if it looks old and I know if a switch box looks old. So you're going to want to take these things into consideration. Make sure you do your due diligence on the area as well, so you know that you're not overpaying. Look at the prices that houses have sold for in the past and kind of get yourself a little checklist of things you want to look at as you go around. Does the kitchen need to be redone? That'll be like £5,000 if that's what you're going to budget for that. Does the bathroom need doing? That's another £3,000, for example. Just have your own sort of figures in your head of what you think things will cost based on the area you're in, because of course prices vary massively across the country. Okay, next up is the type of mortgage you are going to want. Now, this is totally up to you. Everyone is different. Everyone has a different strategy. So both methods are completely fine. In my opinion, both work very well. So there is a repayment mortgage and then there's an interest-only mortgage. So a repayment mortgage will have the interest on the property. So when you borrow, you say £100,000 from the bank, they're going to want interest. The bank wants some money back for basically lending you your money as a fee, and that will be the same on both types of mortgage. Now on the repayment mortgage, you will actually be paying down your loan each month as well, so you'll actually be paying some interest and then you'll be actually paying money to pay back the bank for the loan that you have borrowed from them. So maybe you're paying them back £500 for the first month, and then the next month you pay them another £500, and then after a year you'll have actually taken £6,000 off the total amount that your loan is worth. Eventually, over time, your loan will be gone completely and you will be, well, debt free on that property. However, I went for the interest only mortgage, and the reason for that is because I want to keep as much money free as possible. I want to be able to use as much capital as I have to buy more and more properties, because that way I'll be able to set myself up with more revenue each month. And because I won't be paying the bank any money back for the mortgage, I'll have more free capital to go and do that with. As I said, I will be releasing deep dives into each of these topics so that we can talk a lot more about them. I'm just going through what I did in very brief detail for today's video. All right, here's the juicy stuff, the stuff you want to know, how much money it costs and how much money I'm going to make. So firstly, let's start off with the startup costs / buying costs of this property. So the property costs £146,500. So I needed to come up with a deposit of £36,625, which is about the 25 to 75% loan that most buy-to-let properties in a company will ask for at the very least. Stamp duty cost me £4,825 because I did have to pay the 3% surcharge, and this was before the stamp duty break sort of came in as well, so I actually ended up paying 4%. The solicitor fees all in were £1,300, which takes me to a total buy cost, money that I literally had to have in my bank account to make this happen, of £42,750. Next up, we got the refurbishment costs. So these are all the costs that I endured after I had completed on the property as sort of like one-time things that I would have to only do once. So we had to pay £21,000 to get the entire house refurbished. That included electrical work, new boiler, new pipes, new radiators, walls painted, walls plastered, new carpets, new bathroom, new kitchen. Literally everything was done pretty much brand new. Then frustratingly I had to pay £2,000 to have the fences gone and put up, so we're 23 grand in at that point on the refurbishments, which takes our overall costs. At the time it was ready to rent out to a grand total of £65,750. So yeah, quite a lot of money, I'm not gonna lie. And I did go through the whole refurbishment sort of debacle in the last video, so if you want to check that out, feel free. Now, what you want to know is how much the property is worth now, because we've done a lot of work to it. Surely the value has gone up, and I'm glad to say it has. So if I wanted to flip this house and sell it on, I would be able to sell it on for £185,000, so £20,000 more than what I had actually put in. So in that respect, it's actually kind of a success. That was for a quick sell. So we had an estate agent come round. He said, if you want to get rid of this today, put it up for 185. If you put it up for 190, it will sell, but it might take a little bit longer. So if we work on the basis of 190, then we're £25,000 in the good already. I have absolutely no intention of selling this house. It's an investment. I want the rental income for the rest of my life, and I'm hoping to stack more properties like this up over the coming years so that I can basically replace the income I'm getting from YouTube with the rental income from these houses. However, if I wanted to go away and sort of remortgage, then I could actually pull a bit of money out of this house that I had sort of like invested and then go and put that into another house. But I'm on a 5-year fixed at the moment, so I won't be able to do that for 5 years, otherwise I'll have to pay a whole load of penalty charges. So that's something that I'm planning to do in the future. Maybe once the market's gone up, maybe the market goes down, but at the moment we're actually quite good in the green. So that's how much the house cost and how much value I've managed to add to it. Next up, we're going to be talking about the rental income, the bit that I'm excited about, because this is money that I'm going to receive every month for as long as I have this house in my possession. Now, one of the things I got pulled apart for in the comments section of the other videos was kind of like that the margins were too fine. I always run my numbers as a worst case scenario, because if you run at a worst case scenario and still can make money, then if you get anything better, well, then you've done absolutely amazing. So rent, I was hoping to get £800 a month. I'm getting £900 a month. The tenants have moved in, they absolutely love it. They've paid 2 installments of rent already, so very, very happy about that. So just like that, we're way ahead of what our sort of like previous calculations in previous videos were. Now we need to talk about the running costs of the house, how much it costs me to upkeep it. Now there's 3 M's that you want to talk about when it comes to these running costs: maintenance, management, and mortgage. So your mortgage plus your maintenance plus how much it costs to manage, you want to take those away from your rental income to find out exactly how much money you will be making each month. So my mortgage is an interest only mortgage, and I pay £340 in interest a month. Some of you might be thinking, but you'll never own that house, but that's fine, because one day what I'll do is I'll just sell the house, take the extra equity, maybe pay off a mortgage on another property I own. There's a whole load of exit strategies. I'd rather have that capital free now to reinvest and buy more houses. Now the property is actually being managed by one of my friends, and they are charging me 10% as a management fee. So 10% of the £900 a month rent is £90 per month, which is going to them to look after the tenant, make sure the rent's paid on time, any issues that come up, they sort all that stuff out. The last part of this is of course the maintenance. So every house is going to go into disrepair over time. I looked about for some estimates of what I should be saving as a contingency in case something does go wrong, and they say that you should budget 1% of the entire property price per year as maintenance. So the property price was 1465000, so I should budget about £1,460 per year, and that's about £120 per month. And as always, we do take worst case scenario. I don't think it's going to need that much money because it's literally all just been put in brand new, so the money that is going to need to be repaired should be a lot lower and probably will go up as time goes on. Altogether, we need to set aside £540 per month from that £900 income, so we'll be getting £360 a month profit from this investment. And for those of you who want to judge me, I'd whack the ROI on the screen. I mean, as I've said before, this is my first attempt at this, and so I'm not too bothered about what the ROI is. I'm not really that fussed like how efficient I was, because this was just a huge learning experience, and to get my feet in the water in any way is better than taking years and years and years trying to find that one perfect deal. And so this is the last bit, the tax. Everyone loves to talk about the tax, right? So because I set this up as a new company and I took money from my old existing company and paid it in as a director's loan from one company to the other, and then invested all the money in this new company, the company is actually operating at a loss. It's spent a lot of money and has not made any profit, and it won't make any profit for a long time, because as you probably know, if we're getting £360 a month in rental income, we're only getting 4,320 quid a year in profit. And as you know, I have spent a lot more than that. It's going to take like 10 years to pay back that investment, if not even longer, depending on how the market fluctuates. There's so many variables. It's like I could go all day just going around in circles talking about all the variables that could happen. So the company's actually going to run at a loss for a long time, and that means it won't pay any tax, because if you've got losses and you've not made any profit, what are you going to pay tax on? Because you only pay tax on profit. So in terms of paying tax in this buy-to-let company, I'm not going to have to do it for a long time, because I'm going to keep taking money from the YouTube side of the business, moving it into the housing side of the business, and then that will keep it running at a loss. Now what will happen is eventually we'll get to a point where I won't be earning any more money off YouTube, and then the housing will start paying like my bills. It will probably still be running at a loss, I get at the time, but eventually it will catch up and it will start making a whole load of profit, and therefore taxes will be due. And so I'll pay the corporation tax, which will be like however much it is at the time, because it will be years and years and years from now. Then I'll take my salary in the most tax efficient way that I always have, pay myself in dividends, and I won't be on a high rate of tax because I won't be earning anything from YouTube anymore. So the idea is to keep money that I make from either YouTube or this housing enterprises in the business for as long as possible, and drip feed it out to myself as a salary. I spend that salary as frugally as possible to keep my costs down, and then I can keep on reinvesting all the money that I've got in those businesses. And yeah, it should just get to a point where it makes a whole load of money, hopefully. I mean, that's the end goal. We can never really predict the future. All we can do is do what we do right now. So my advice is, if this sort of interests you and you're thinking about it, just go do it. Don't get too afraid. Like, if you're nervous about something, if your gut's telling you to not do something, then you probably either want to get a second opinion, like get a professional round to have a look at the property you're potentially going to buy and get their advice from it, or look at something else. You know, just wait until the right thing comes up for you, but definitely get involved and go and do it. Like, this is my journey. I'm very excited about it. I'm very happy with how this first one's gone. I'm going to be looking for the next one, as I said, after I've bought my own house to live in. But as a first dip in the ocean, I've loved it, and I wouldn't change any of it. Maybe next time we'll learn from some of the mistakes we've made, like maybe underestimating refurb budgets would be a good one, realizing that fences are not cheap to replace, try not to buy in the middle of a pandemic. That would be a good one, wouldn't it? I think what I'm getting at, it's never going to be smooth, but like, they're all obstacles that you can probably overcome. Just don't make the mistake of needing a new roof or something that has to have foundation or structural work done to it, because that could set you back a lot. And yeah, let me know how you get on down in the comment section. As I said, what's coming up on this channel is going to be deep dives into all of the different stuff that I've spoken about so far. I hope you've enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe and like the video if you have, and yeah, I'll see you all next time. Peace.